In Santiago, Chile, a woman named Amanda, who is an architect, walks down the street as she heads to her car. She gets into the car and talks to Pablo, her boss, about a client who wants to use cheap materials on a building. Amanda decides to have the conversation in person and calls her boyfriend, Pepe. Unknown to her, Pepe is having fun with her good friend Fernanda. They talk about how much they love each other while Fernanda messes around with Pepe. Amanda enters her house and puts her phone down after the call. Pepe continues his act with Fernanda, but they lie on his phone and accidentally call Amanda. Amanda picks up and overhears as her boyfriend cheats on her. She rushes to her house with a gun and breaks the door. Pepe lies that there is a misunderstanding, and Amanda threatens to shoot him. Later, a detective interrogates Amanda and asks how she felt after threatening Pepe. She says she felt fulfilled and proceeds to use her beauty to persuade him to release her. Amanda goes to her office and talks to her boss, Pablo. She talks about how she never expected Pepe to cheat because she really loved him and thought he felt the same way. While she talks, Pablo stares between her legs and doesn't pay attention to what she says. She notices what is going on and closes her legs. Amanda asks Pablo if anyone knows about her arrest, and he informs her that the board of directors found out. The board added her arrest to her previous disagreement with a client, and Pablo apologizes. Amanda doesn't understand what he means, and he says she is fired from work. She gets angry and throws a pen on the table as she leaves. She stands on her balcony that evening and wonders what she will do about her situation. Amanda arrives in Valparaiso, Chile, and goes to a church to pray. A man named Brother Juan walks to her as she mentions how people only come to church when they need help. He introduces himself, and Amanda is considering moving into the town. They discuss as they walk out of the church, and Juan says he doesn't like remembering his past and how his wife left him. He asks her what she is hiding from as they continue walking, and she says she is hiding from love and disappointment. Amanda rents a house and pulls out a book in search of a new job. She sees different adverts in the book, cuts them out, and puts them in a jar. She leaves the job to chance and selects a random paper. Amanda calls Max Lopez, the man hiring on the paper she selected. She asks about the open position and purchases several makeup items. Amanda creates a disguise that hides her beauty in an attempt to prevent men from being attracted to her. She meets Max in a restaurant, and he is amazed by her work history. He mentions that he can't offer her the same amount of money her previous workplaces did, and she says she isn't in the town for money. Max happily hires her and tells her about her 3 coworkers, Guillermo, Karen, and Marcelo. He asks her to be patient with Marcelo and says she will understand what he means when they meet. Marcelo makes his way to work while Amanda makes her car appear to carry children often. She places booster seats in it. She meets Marcelo at work, and he gives her a potted plant. He wonders why there are ugly women in the world, because she is in her disguise. Amanda knows his type and realizes he is judging her without saying anything. The workers have a meeting about a project, and Max says he wants to know Amanda's opinion on a project situation. Karen says she can find a solution, but Max informs them that Amanda is well-versed in communication technology. He instructs Marcelo and Guillermo to take her to the site so she can understand what's going on. At the site, Marcelo talks to Guillermo about how women are fascinated by men with big bulges on their trousers. They meet Amanda, and she says the sewer and drinking water systems are connected to the network interruption. She takes them to the train station to perform an experiment and says the moving trains combine with the sewer water to cause a disturbance in the network. Amanda goes underground while Marcelo checks the signal level on a computer. She takes off her fat suit in order to fit through the gates. Marcelo sees that the signal gets strong as the trains move, and he informs Amanda. Their radio loses signal, and he rushes underground as he thinks she is in trouble. He gets to Amanda, but she says she is all right and forces him to look away. They leave the sewer after the successful experiment, and Marcelo talks to Max. He takes credit for finding the solution to the problem and ends the call. Marcelo is forced to sit at the back. Even though it is uncomfortable, Amanda tells them about her husband, who travels a lot, and her children. They all decide to go to a bar to celebrate the day's success. Guillermo gets drunk shortly after they arrive and says he must leave to attend to his wife and children. He places his money on the table as he walks away and leaves Amanda and Marcelo. Amanda says Guillermo is living a good life, but Marcelo thinks otherwise. Amanda has a conversation with Marcelo, and he says he doesn't have time to build friendships with women. His preferred type of women are those with a figure similar to that of a wasp. Amanda assures him that he will find a perfect woman and give up his independence as he falls in love with her. Marcelo says it's impossible, and Amanda leaves the building. She returns to her house and realizes she matches Marcelo's description of the ideal woman as she takes off her costume. Amanda puts on a beautiful outfit and leaves her house. She goes to the club Marcelo attends, and he spots her as she enters the building. Marcelo attempts to talk to her as people dance around them, but she is preoccupied with talking to a man with tattoos. He gets an idea and walks to her while pretending to be her brother. Marcelo says their mother got injured and takes her away from the man while saying they must rush to the hospital. They go to a different part of the building, and Amanda asks Marcelo what he'd have done if the man she was talking to were her boyfriend. Marcelo says he'd have improvised, and Amanda pretends to have an interest in witty men. He asks if she'd be interested in going to a more comfortable place so they can continue their discussion. Amanda takes a bottle of wine from him and licks it as the liquid pours out. Marcelo watches and likes as she moves her lips on the bottle. Marcelo says he'd like to get busy with her, but Amanda refuses. He changes his statement and says he wants them to take things slow. Amanda decides to leave and says they will share a moment of passion the next time they meet. He gives her his card, and she lies that her name is Helena. Marcelo fantasizes about her figure as she walks away, and the man she was talking to walks to him. He punches Marcelo for lying to him and leaves. Amanda meets Brother Juan in the church and talks about what she did the previous night. He wonders why Amanda is wearing a disguise, and she says she is hiding her true identity. Juan gets confused, and Amanda says she wants to attract men and teach them a lesson. Marcelo arrives at work and meets Amanda, who notices the bruise on his face. She makes fun of his bruise, and he says he came to her office for a different reason. Marcelo thanks Amanda for allowing him to take credit for the experiment and commends her as an intelligent woman. Amanda is shocked as he stands up and leaves her office. Marcelo returns to the club and waits for Amanda. He is restless as he waits for her, but she sends a text saying she won't be able to make it. Marcelo sits with Amanda and is lost in thought. He tells her about Helena and says he is toying with her so she will fall for him. In reality, Helena hasn't shown up for any of their dates, but has agreed to have dinner at his house. He smiles as he says he will give Helena what she deserves. Marcelo returns home and prepares for his dinner with Helena. He dances as he works in the kitchen, but gets stained while cooking. Someone rings the doorbell, and Marcelo goes to open it. He welcomes Amanda, who is also Helena, into his home, and they have dinner. Amanda eats the food and commends Marcelo for it. He says he cooked it himself and learned the recipe when he traveled abroad. In reality, Marcelo ordered the food and put it on a plate to make it seem like he cooked it himself. He prepares to get to work with Amanda and kisses her hand. Amanda says she is sensitive because she hasn't been with a man in a long time. Marcelo continues his advances, but Amanda asks him to stop. She says she will have to wake up early the following morning and prepare to leave. Marcelo asks if she is upset, and she thanks him for the food and leaves. The following day, Amanda meets Marcelo at work and sees that he is acting strange. She asks him about his date, and he says it wasn't right. He asks for help as he says he isn't in control of the situation, and it is abnormal. Amanda agrees to help and says he should stop thinking of taking every woman to his bed. Meanwhile, Karen listens to their conversation while hiding, and Guillermo joins her. Amanda purchases food from the market as she goes home and bumps into Karen. Karen asks about her husband and children, and Amanda makes an excuse for their absence. She then goes to Juan, who wonders when she will stop with her games. Amanda asks Juan for help and has some orphans pretend to be her children. She goes to work the following day with the children, and Marcelo helps her get some items from her car. Amanda gives Karen a child to hold while she changes the other's diaper. Karen is uncomfortable as she holds the baby. Amanda takes him from her, and she leaves the room. Marcelo plays with one of the kids as he says Helena is coming over at night. Amanda wishes him luck, and he goes home to prepare for her arrival. He welcomes Amanda after intentionally making a mess in the kitchen. Marcelo gives her a bunch of flowers as a gift, but she begins to sneeze as she is allergic to them. He throws them away, and they proceed to have dinner. Marcelo says he likes to wander the world, and Amanda says he arouses her. He tells her a poem about her and how she makes him feel alive. Marcelo asks if she likes the poem, and Amanda says he uses it to attract all the women. They go to his bedroom, where Amanda asks him to get comfortable. She moves her hand around his chest, and they get to business. Not long passes, and Marcelo apologizes for not performing. Amanda says his mind was elsewhere, and Marcelo admits to thinking about someone from his office. She leaves his house as he apologizes. Later, Amanda meets brother Juan, and Juan says Marcelo couldn't handle how she gave herself to him. He asks if Marcelo is well endowed, and Amanda leaves for work. She meets Marcelo at the office, and he tells her about his experience the previous night. Marcelo says Amanda and her children came to his mind while he was with Helena. He asks what he can do to woo Helena and asks Amanda to come to his place and teach him how to cook. Amanda agrees, and they have fun while she teaches him how to cook. They sit on a roof to have lunch the following day, and Marcelo says Amanda is the first woman to enter his house as a friend. Amanda takes a bite of food, and his fake teeth attach to the meat. She quickly reattaches it, as she says men who are afraid of commitment always look for excuses. Marcelo realizes she is right and decides to take things slow while enjoying the view. He kisses her as she talks but apologizes. Guillermo eats in the office, and Karen asks if he thinks Marcelo and Amanda fit each other. Guillermo insults her and continues eating. Marcelo and Max work in a building, and Max commends a software Marcelo uses. Marcelo got it from Amanda, and Max says they are getting along well. Marcelo asks Max how to know when you've met the right woman. Max instructs him to close his eyes and asks him what he thinks of when he says the word woman. Marcelo is shocked as Max taps his face and says the woman he thought of is the one for him. Marcelo receives a text from Helena, and she wants to play a different game. That night, Marcelo comes down the stairs dressed as a woman and Amanda watches. He sits beside her and says he has been thinking for a while. Amanda wonders what he is thinking about, and he says he is in love with her. Amanda takes him to the room, and she says he doesn't mean what he says. He assures her that his feelings are genuine, but she doesn't believe him and handcuffs him to the bed. Amanda suddenly pulls out a knife and threatens to attack Marcelo. She says he must learn his lesson, and Marcelo screams. Later, he wakes up as some photographers surround him, and a police officer informs him that Amanda didn't attack him. He sees ketchup on his stomach, and the reporters take several pictures of him. Brother Juan talks to Amanda in the church and says what she did is similar to the attack on her ex-boyfriend. Amanda feels bad for what she did and says Marcelo looked helpless while trapped on the bed. Juan says she is in love with him, but she denies the feelings. She goes to work and adjusts her clothes in a bathroom stall. Karen steps in and adjusts her makeup while talking about Marcelo. Amanda struggles to get her fake teeth, while Karen says Marcelo is going through some tough times. Karen gives Amanda a newspaper, and she sees that Marcelo is on the front cover. Marcelo meets her at work and says he doesn't know how he feels. Amanda tries to come clean about the situation but is unable to, and Karen takes Marcelo out of the building. Karen and Marcelo begin spending time together as they bond while Amanda is left alone in her office. Marcelo finds Amanda's address and goes to her house in the middle of the night. Amanda sees him at the door and realizes she isn't wearing her disguise. She barely opens the door and doesn't let him enter the house. Marcelo talks through the door and thanks Amanda for being his one and only female friend. He says she knows him more than anyone and professes his love for her. Amanda realizes Marcelo loves her even though her disguise isn't visually appealing. Marcelo asks Amanda for her blessing as he says he wants to marry Karen. He says he is ready, but Amanda quietly cries as he talks. Marcelo thanks her as he walks away, and Amanda shuts the door as she continues crying. She goes to talk to Brother Juan the following day, and he says she is in love with Marcelo. Amanda doesn't know what to do because Marcelo is in love with her disguised self. She fears what will happen when he finds out they're the same person and says Karen asked her to be her maid of honor. Amanda returns home and is depressed by all that is happening. She prepares to attend Marcelo's wedding and goes to the church, where she bumps into him at the entrance. They both hug, but their clothes get stuck, and Marcelo is forced to slide out of the shirt. The wedding begins, and Amanda stands as Karen's maid of honor. The priest asks Marcelo if he will take Karen as his wife, but he doesn't respond. Brother Juan prays for a miracle as the priest asks Marcelo the question again. Amanda suddenly sneezes as she stands beside a flower she is allergic to. Her fake teeth fall out, and Marcelo notices she looks familiar. He walks to her, takes off her wig, and realizes she is Helena. Time passes, and the duo is happily married with 3 children and 1 on the way. Marcelo meets Amanda as he moves the children and their dog. They are in love and have made a happy family. And this is the end. This was a recap of the 2006 movie Ugly Me, directed and written by Claudio David. If you also found this movie refreshing, let us know in the comments below with #CinemaRecap.